guys, today we're going to be making a really delicious caramel and apple bread pudding. I love it for the holidays and also any time of the year. So let's get started with our custard. We have 8 whole eggs in a mixing bowl, and to this we're going to add 2 cups of cream and 2 cups of milk, followed by ½ a cup of sugar. We're going to add 1 vanilla pod to this, which we are just going to slice in half. When you're choosing out vanilla, you want to make sure it's got some nice flexibility to it, so it's not too stiff and it has a nice scent. Right, that's perfect. So we're going to scrape all the seeds off the inside, because that's where all the flavor is. We're going to put all of these seeds in. Lastly, we're going to add our spices, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon and 1 tablespoon of nutmeg. Okay, now we're going to give that a whisk. We want to make sure everything is incorporated, so all of those eggs are broken up and everything is combined. We're going to set that aside. Now for our bread. So I recommend using a French baguette, and a day old is recommended. If not, what you can do is cube up this bread and then toast it in the oven for about 10 minutes just so it dries out. The reason why we do that is that when it goes into the custard, it absorbs all of those flavors. So this is going to get cut into cubes. So now we've got all of our cubed bread, we're going to put it all into the custard. This is going to marinate for about 45 minutes in the fridge. And ever so often you want to stir it to make sure that all of the bread is evenly coated. This is going to actually absorb the majority of this liquid. So you want to make sure everything is all mixed up. So we're going to cover this and put it in the fridge. So now we're going to make the caramel, which is going to be the base of our bread pudding. I've got a saucepan here on high heat, and to this we're going to add 1 cup of sugar, and we're going to add 1 cup of water, but we're going to reserve half of the water, so we're only going to put in a 1/4 cup right now. And then we're not going to stir this. This is very important. Do not stir. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of vinegar, and this is going to help prevent the caramel from crystallizing. So we don't want to see any of those sugar crystals forming on the outside of the pot, so we're not going to stir it. We're just going to leave it for about 10 minutes until it starts to turn yellow, and then it's going to start to get dark and turn into an amber color. Once the caramel looks like this, we're going to add the remaining ½ a cup of water. Okay, so that is perfect. You want to have exactly that consistency and that color. And we're going to put this into our springform cake pan. We want to make sure the caramel is coating the entire bottom surface of the cake pan and about ½ an inch up the sides. So what's going to happen is when the bread pudding is done cooking, we're going to flip it over and the caramel is going to be on top. Today we're going to be using ambrosia apples. So what we're going to do is just cut off the ends, and we're going to slice them thinly and create a fan effect that we're going to put right on top of the caramel. So to do that, we're going to thinly slice this apple. The thinner the better, because we want to create a nice even fan effect. We're going to do this with 2 apples. So you want to keep the apples together in the slices. That'll make it easier to arrange. And we're just going to put them right on top of the slightly cooled caramel. So you want to follow the edge of the cake pan. We've got a beautiful fan here. Now we're going to get our bread mixture. This has been soaking for about 45 minutes. And you'll see that it's absorbed all of that custard mixture. Make sure you take out the vanilla pod, very important. That's going to go in the garbage. And then we're going to spoon this right on top of the caramel and the apples. Give it a little last stir. We're going to use every last piece of bread. Once it's all in, we're going to compact it with the spoon. We're going to press down the bread, try to eliminate any air bubbles. So that looks great. Now it's time to go in the oven. So we're going to bake this bread pudding in a bain-marie. So that means we're going to put it into a roasting dish or a pan like this that has tall edges, and then we're going to fill the surrounding area with water. That's going to allow the custard to cook in a nice even way, and it gives a nice almost steamed effect. So that's going to go halfway up the edges, and this is going to go into oven at 350 degrees for about 1 hour to 1 hour and 20 minutes. You're gonna know that your bread pudding is ready when it's firm in the center. If you give it a little jiggle, it doesn't really move. So you're gonna let that cool. Once it's cooled, you're gonna take a knife, just gonna run the edges around the edge of the cake pan just to make sure it's not sticking. And next we're gonna release the springform pan. Ooh. And now be careful because there will be some caramel dripping around the side. So have your pedestal ready. We're gonna put it on top like this, and we're gonna flip it. Now this can be a little tricky. So get both hands into the bottom, and you gotta be fast. That. And then we're gonna take off the bottom. Wow, look at that. And there you have it, caramel apple bread pudding. And you know what goes really well with this? Check out my recipe for eggnog creme anglaise. See you next time.